Well, it was gripped by far-right extremist unrest this summer, becoming a theatre of violent protest and Nazi salutes. Today, Chancellor Angela Merkel is visiting Chemnitz to meet residents there. Violence was initially sparked in the city after a local man was stabbed by suspects, later identified as asylum seekers. Meanwhile, far-right groups continue to make political gains across Germany. The AfD party won 13% of the vote in last year's elections. Some analysts say the country is now more divided politically than at any time since reunification. John Lawrenson reports.
The streets have become their territory. As on this Saturday in Eberswalde, a small town in the northwest of Germany. In the crowd, a couple of pensioners angry about immigration.
Things have to change in Germany. It can't go on like this. And the only means we have to achieve our goal is to take to the streets.
We are not Nazis like they claim we are. We're citizens, like any other. But we do not agree with this government's policies.
Like Regine and Detlev, these demonstrators consider themselves patriots. But they aren't bothered by the skinheads in the crowd. Andre Poggenberg, a member of the AfD's radical wing, is open about his aims.
Personally, I'm in favour of the shift to the right. For decades, Germany has been drifting to the left, so the only way to get back to normal is to move things back to the right. The only thing is to avoid extremism, and that's what the AfD is doing.
Always pushing the limits, a winning strategy. The AfD is now in all of the regional parliaments and the Bundestag. This is the parliament in Dresden, in a region where the party took 20% of the votes at the last elections. Their leader, Jörg Urban, is a former Green. For him, the AfD is the new Conservative Party, and he has proof.
What separates us from the CDU? Well, have a look at their campaign poster from 1991. It says, "Abuse of the asylum system must stop." And here's a recent AfD one. "The right of asylum needs clear rules." Yet we're the ones being labeled Nazis, while they're the good old CDU.
The AfD claims they have simply taken up the conservative causes abandoned by Angela Merkel's CDU.
The AfD has brought conservatism back into politics. One could say that the AfD owes a big part of its success to the CDU abandoning its conservative positions and values, especially on issues regarding family and law and order.
The AfD calls itself New Right, as here in Dresden, it regularly answers the call of the Islamophobic Pegida movement to take to the streets. You find different groups, Generation Identity, for example, along with the simple AfD voters. But the New Right is also a group of publishers of books and magazines whose circulation is increasing.
The peak you see here is September 2015, when the borders were opened. All of a sudden, the number of views on our internet site doubled. Subscriptions massively increased without any advertising campaign. In the traditional parties, or in the traditional media, you can no longer speak openly about these questions. And when you feel marginalized inside the CDU or the Social Democrats, then you turn towards a party like the AfD, even if it is presented as being far-right.
So, an out and proud right-wing party that sees itself as democratic. Only far from the television cameras, in front of the voters, the AfD is more outspoken, even about the Nazi period.
We recognise our responsibility for those 12 years of our history. But Hitler and the Nazis are no more than a bird dropping in our 1,000-year history.
Stefan Lauer has been observing this new right for years. For him, only its form distinguishes it from the radical extreme right.
A classic far-right party will say foreigners out, while the new right won't say it so openly, but instead use terms such as remigration. They use more intellectual terminology for similar ideas or ideology. It's just a question of making those ideas more acceptable for the public at large.
Germany is getting used to extreme right ideas. According to a recent study, 1/3 of people in the former East Germany say they are xenophobic. Against them, there are counter-demonstrators like here in Dresden, but many of these people see the damage that's already been done.
These people have succeeded in increasing the level of fear and hatred that's directed towards foreigners, towards other people here in Germany.
With them, it's the entire far right that's gaining strength and attracting more and more people.
I hope one day these people realise the harm they're doing. But meanwhile, I find all this very frightening.
The Constitution Protection Office will soon decide whether to place the AfD under observation. But its ideas have already taken root in German society.